And here I go, sharing my screen. Oops. Has Paul joined? It shows he is trying to join, but I don't see him here. Okay, anyway, should come in. So the topic, guys, for today's webinar is emotional intelligence. And we have touched upon this a little bit in the earlier webinar that, in fact, I had only conducted on effective communication skills, and we had connected how emotional intelligence plays an important role. Actually, as we all may be aware, that emotional intelligence is considered to be one of the most important skills, starting from younger years to the leadership roles one can have. Today, they are saying IQ is less important, EQ is more important, or EI, emotional quotient or emotional intelligence, is more important than your intellect. And of course, intellect also does not mean only academic performance, but even if you say IQ, that is less. So let's understand what is this exactly and what all are involved in this. So in the chat box, I need from all of you to put in one word to express how are you feeling right now. Put it in the chat box, please. Whatever is your feeling. Aarti is excited, Nagaratna is excited, Madhavi is happy, Divya is grateful, Sanjay is great, great, great. Then Asar I was going to read, sorry, Asar, thinking of next week. Okay, all right, interesting. So as you can see, when we try to express our feelings, we don't seem to get too many words in our mind, isn't it? Excited, happy, sad, depressed, anxious, nervous. Maybe these are some of the words that we all normally use. Am I right? Is there any other word I'm missing out that normally we use in our vocabulary to express our feelings? And there are so many times there is a feeling that is something different from all of this. And we all little bit struggle. It's hard for me to put it in word. I can't really tell you what exactly I'm feeling. Have you all gone through those days and those times in our life?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So let us understand a bit more. So look at this next screen here. This is just some of the words that we can use in our emotion vocabulary to express how we feel. So just on the screen, I have captured 100 emotional words. And we barely use that. You know what is the difficulty? If we don't use the right word, we are then not identifying the right feeling. That means if we are not identifying the right feeling with the right word, we will definitely not be able to make anybody else understand and communicate that. And therefore, we will be in little bit of confused state on why am I feeling, what am I feeling? It's somewhere between this and that, but we don't know how to say. So one of the important things is for all of us to get better with our emotional vocabulary, how to express our feelings. Now, in this graph, don't worry if every word is not very clear to be read. I just wanted to share that there are so many different words from enthusiastic, not that these words we don't know, but it doesn't come to our mind when we have to, when somebody says, first of all, how are you? There is a standard answer as if that is also we have something mugged up or something. We all say, I am fine. Then we think, really, am I fine? Not sure. And then we feel, do I really want to tell that person how I am feeling? But okay, you may or may not want to tell somebody exactly how you're feeling, but do you know, do you do a self-check every day as to how am I feeling? What is that feeling? Where is that feeling coming from? And therefore, what should I do with that acknowledgement of that feeling, right? So whether it is livid, fuming, anxious to blissful, thrilled, elated, fulfilled, touched, balanced, carefree, content, satisfied, etc., right? Now, if you see the graph, there are 4 colors here. Basic colors are green, blue, and then red and yellow. And then if you see, even within that, there is a bit of shading. It towards the center, it's lighter, and when it goes towards the ends, it becomes more denser. Now, if you see X and Y axis here, one is talking about, the Y axis is talking about energy. Energy levels being low, you will be on the blue and green side. Energy level being high, you will feel one of the red or yellow emotions. If you see down the x-axis, that is pleasantness. So if you are on the green and yellow side, you will be feeling more pleasant. And if you are on the red and blue, you will be feeling less pleasant. So let's take a very simple example. If you are feeling excited, you are high with your energy level also. And in excitement, you are feeling pleasant also, right? But then if you are feeling serene, we all have gone through that also, just feeling good, just feeling pleasant, just feeling peaceful, right? The feeling serene, your energy level is very low, but you're feeling good. On the other side, if you are feeling anger, you're feeling enraged, then your energy level is very high, but the unpleasantness level is also very high. With anger, frustration, you're fuming, you're very anxious or feeling repulsed. All those are high on energy, low on pleasantness. And if you come to depressed, despondent, I'm feeling pessimistic, disgusted, despair, even the way I'm saying, there is less of energy and less of pleasantness. So none of us definitely want to be on the blue and red for long period. And frankly, even the green one, for some time to come, relax, feel rejuvenated, etc., it is a good space to be. But then to feel alive and lively, we would want to be somewhere in the yellow patch most of the time. Is this clear to everybody? Any questions from this? It's all clear, right? So let's move forward just for ease. Now, so many words together may be difficult to remember, and especially if you're going to help your children or students that you have to express their emotions and learn some vocabulary, here is a simpler ruler tool that we normally use for children. When we are talking to them, adolescents, children, how are you feeling? And we just take them through, like marking it 1 to 5. If you see, we have just put 5 words in each box and let them just identify themselves with any one of this, and then help them, like, what is the difference between feeling joyful and peaceful, cheerful and calm, right? Elated and content. So I think it's a very good idea for all, including children, to know how to recognize and acknowledge and deal with whatever is their current state of emotion. Now, do we all get up with one emotion and sleep with the same emotion on a day?
No.
No, right? It keeps changing. And what does it change normally with? Through the day, emotions change, right?
According to what's happening in our life, according to even
Situation.
what we are facing, doing,
Our expectations.
relationships.
The mood during the daytime, if you are angry, emotions change. If you are happy, emotions change. All of a sudden, if you become, I mean, a lot of work and pressure comes on us, our emotions change. It all depends on, sometimes somebody at home talks something rough, then our emotions will change. So there are so many ways.
Absolutely.
we keep changing day, in the course of the day.
Absolutely. So we are talking about things that are happening
And
around
one,
us.
one thing I wanted to tell here is,
Uh-huh.
I mean, probably it is right because this session is not going to last for a long time, 45 minutes. It's a short session. So not a problem. Even from office, I'm able to take, attend
Yes.
the session. But Madhvi was suggesting evening. I feel morning we are more happy and more, excited than evening. Evening tired. Okay,
Yes.
after the whole day hectic work,
Yes.
So
Drained out.
maybe,
Absolutely.
things change.
Yes, yes. So actually, evenings, maybe it becomes more of receiving some gyan that somebody else can give to some extent, but participation sometimes will be reduced because you
Yes.
are exhausted and your energy
Yeah,
levels. Yeah,
exactly.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, right? So there are two kinds of things that change our emotions, as we are saying. One are things that are happening, to the people around us and what they're doing, including that also creating situations around us. And could there be things happening within ourselves also?
Yes.
Like,
Yes. Like our own biases, prejudices, core belief systems, they all come in the way of interpreting and looking at the outer events with different perspectives, which again in turn, affects our emotional state. It can lead to
very true.
sadness, happiness, depression. It can lead to anger, resentment. A lot of
Very
research
true.
has been done now about,
Mhm.
built-in negative emotions like resentment and deep-seated anger and unhealed parts of our body, emotions which is there inside.
Yeah,
That also can cause cancer.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, Sanjay.
So, one of the big determinants of our mood is also our health. Many
Yes.
Very
people
true.
are very badly affected by certain lifestyle health conditions, which can
Yes.
completely sap you of energy. And then when your energy level is low, your response and reaction to ordinary situations becomes irritable or angry or overwhelmed or many other things. So health,
Absolutely.
uh, believe me, till you have good physical health, this life is a paradise in your mind. The moment you don't, it's sheer hell.
Yes.
Absolutely. And we all know just with a small headache or a cut on a finger, right? Oh my God, the pain it can just cause. And imagine something more than that, right? And then the longer the things like that time that you deal with your own health issue or somebody around you can cause a lot of stress also, then of course resulting in different kind of triggers for your emotions, right?
Can
Perfect.
I add
Wonderful.
one more point?
Yes, yes,
I
please.
also want to talk about
Mhm.
our imagination. Sometimes we imagine, such terrible things in our mind. It works. It can be very far removed from reality. But we
True.
identify with our whatever we are experiencing in our imagination, and that can cause so much of turmoil inside us. Daniel
Yes.
Coleman also speaks about the earlier person who spoke about emotional intelligence. And I also find that a lot of us, including myself, we live very unconscious life. Very,
Hmm.
we don't have much self-awareness. We don't
Hmm.
have this one to go in and, find out, I'm feeling this feeling. Why am I feeling this? What is
Hmm.
triggering it? That kind of connection with our thoughts, I think if we develop,
Hmm.
maybe EQ will not become such a challenge.
I agree. Wow. So you talked about like both living consciously and also being able to control what's going on with
Self-awareness.
us, right?
Yeah.
Awareness and managing that, right? So you
Yes.
covered a lot of things and you actually went ahead of me and already spoke
Sorry,
of
sorry.
Daniel Goleman. No, it's good. It's good. I'm very happy when the participants are equally aware of a lot of things. We can go deeper actually. So I love that totally. Excellent. So let us go forward a bit. And let us see here a small image. Okay, so we already have gone through this image earlier. Who remembers this? What is this image representing? Okay, what is this fellow here? This is
Thoughts
your,
and feelings.
Emotional
Feelings and
intelligence,
the mind.
okay, so there is
art,
brain
Heart.
and heart.
Yes.
Okay, with heart, what do we do?
feelings.
Correct. With
Thoughts
brain,
and
what do we
feelings
do?
coming together.
Think.
Absolutely right. So let's look at, so heart, all about feeling, dhak 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 dhak, all feeling. Okay, all our feeling come from that. Knowing what the feeling, if you have to interpret that, you need your brain to come in between, and knowing what the feeling is properly, and then according to that, if you do things you're doing, then you are acting in an emotionally intelligent way. Because emotion is this fellow on the right, and intelligence is this fellow on the left. And when you take action combining them, that is emotional intelligence. Right? Any questions on this one? Pretty simple, right? Pretty straightforward. Lovely. Let's go
I have a
forward. Yeah,
Quick,
sorry.
quick point, which is in
Yes.
India, you have to always be cognizant of the feeling and emotion of people. Otherwise, you can never lead anyone in India. It's impossible.
Very true. Actually, the whole empathy factor, right? Whether to lead, whether to work with anybody, whether to have a relationship in your personal life or professional life, I think in every single area, this is important. But also, it's so important to build the right kind of relationship with ourselves.
Yes.
Because if we don't know what the hell is happening with our brain and with our, with all the things that we said, the thoughts that comes to us, the feeling that comes to us, if we are not able to identify that and deal with it, we are living in chaos within us, right? And can
Why,
create
Sanjay,
chaos.
you are telling? In India, you are telling? Why not in other countries?
No, I was saying especially in India.
Yeah.
And why not in other countries? Because I've actually lived and worked for 23 years overseas in UAE, US, UK, etc., which are called low context cultures compared to India. So in India, a lot of meaning is brought to the table, which you may not even realize. So when you're leading teams, and mine is restricted to when you're leading people, one has to be very cognizant of how they're feeling, really. Because everyone says yes, everyone does the head wobble, which can mean yes and no, even in a situation where they do not agree. So how do you then tell? Because their intelligence is saying, yes, I agree, but their head wobble is saying, no, I don't. So you have to be, as a leader, very cognizant of that. And that is my limit point.
Can I add one point to what Sir has said?
Yes, please.
This is to do with the social conditioning and the way our society is structured. Ours is a very patriarchal society. From earlier on, we have always told the boys, stop crying like a girl. Okay, so the only emotions which they were comfortable showing is anger. So that social conditioning also plays a very important role. Lot of people are boiling inside with anger, but the conditioning is such that they are not able to express. And if they can express, it comes out in the form of anger. And anger, I think, is nothing but pain, all that thing which is caught up inside, unable to express, And fortunately, in some movies now they are showing, men crying.
Yeah.
Which is healthy actually. Emotionally, it is very healthy. And one more point I want to add, emotional intelligence is also, I think, the ability to, look at another person, their body language, their facial expression, and, their actions. They may be saying something, but their action will be revealing totally contradictory to what they are saying. So an interpretation of the emotions that others throw at us and how we interpret it also, I think, is emotional intelligence.
Yeah, actually, that's exactly the point I think Sanjay made in a different way, that, how to understand people. So to relate with people in the social context is definitely a very big part of emotional intelligence. And definitely. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, Sanjay.
I just wanted to say that, whenever you make a cultural or civilizational point, we have to be very, very, very careful, because this whole thing about patriarchies is obviously the analysis which is coming from the West. There is toxic patriarchy in India for sure. But culturally, this is a very different civilization. And if you notice, we always, when going into war, people are playing for goddesses. All the divine weapons are with the goddesses. And Shakti is considered to be the active principle, whereas the rulership is happening because of kings, etc. But we've had queens also. So India, I would say, is very complex. I would never use a Western lens to actually analyze our society. I'm not saying that they are completely wrong, but on the other side, they have only scratched the surface. And I think our own thinkers and our own social analysts, etc., very different viewpoint. And India has had such a complex gender sort of roles, etc., etc. You look at our weddings. Our weddings are entirely Shakti-oriented, female-oriented in everything. The bride coming into a home is like, you know, the goddess
Lakshmi,
of wealth coming in
Lakshmi,
and
yeah.
kicking over the divine blessings into the home, etc. So I would just say we're very complex. So we should be careful. That's all I would say.
Actually, human beings by themselves are very complex. And I don't think there is any human society that we can say is not complex. Now, if we in any way think that Western, lifestyle is better and more equal or whatever it is, look at the shootings that happened. Like, if only they could deal with their emotions in a matured way, then those things will not be happening, right? But yeah, I mean, we are all on the right track. And also just the point that to what Sanjay and Madhavi, you were talking, to Aarti's question also, Aarti, in the professional world especially, I think a lot of us feel that when you are dealing with, say, Europeans, Americans, etc., there is a particular culture they bring to what they call as professionalism. In the organization, what kind of emotions are okay and not okay to be expressed or expected to be understood or not. So they keep very cut off. So that's what they sometimes refer to as professionalism. But in India, how much ever we tried to copy paste that professionalism, in India, it doesn't work because by nature, we are, and our society, our culture is different. And we, believe in, actually, even if we're trying to bottle up our emotions, frankly, we are more sensitive guys, in my opinion. I'm just oversimplifying it, but that's how it is. It doesn't work so much. So as Sanjay said, everybody has to be more aware of their every team members, what's going on in their personal life, how is their health doing. It's a lot more engagement on that, even in the professional front and probably in the Western world, so to say, right? All right, wonderful discussion. Love this, okay? So now who is this Madhavi? You have to answer. Because you already...
Is he Daniel Coleman?
Absolutely. So he is Daniel Goleman, and he is the one who coined the term emotional intelligence, and he has authored many, many books on that subject. This is just the cover of one of the books that he has written. And these are what are called as the 5 components of emotional intelligence that have been taken from the theory of Daniel Goleman. So how does emotional intelligence help, and what are the different things it deals with? Number 1, self-awareness. So emotionally intelligent means having the capability to be aware of our emotions, not after they have arisen and also created the complication, but as they arise. So abhi main gussa hone wala hoon. Yeah, I am going into a boss's office who may end up triggering me, or etc. Mera result aaya hai, I am going to share it with my parents, and that's going to end up triggering some emotions in them and me. So even before being aware of it, and then do what? After you are aware, like many people say, I'm very short-tempered. What can I do? I get angry very fast. I beat up people very fast. Arey yaar, yeah, there are things that you need to do. Just being aware and going on doing that does not help. So second part is self-regulation, which means once you become aware of what is happening inside of you, what are the triggers for you to bring out different kind of emotions in you. Then you manage your impulses, soothe yourself and respond appropriately. अब हमने बहुत बार सुना है, don't react, please respond. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 गिनो. नहीं काम आता है तो 10, 9, 8, 7, 6 करो, right? Something, breathe, take deep breaths, etc., etc. Actually, all of that is part of self-regulation, because if you can remember doing the reverse count and deep breathing, that means at least you have got there of being aware and knowing that I need to regulate and not do the spontaneous, involuntary thing of just reacting based on the hormones and chemicals that get released in the body because of the trigger impacting our hormones. If you remember, one of the earlier sessions that I took on stress management, I had talked about our brain perceives a lot of things as threat. And as soon as it perceives something as a threat, then it wants to either fight or flight.
Right? Yes.
Yes. So either it wants to get all prepared mentally, physically, emotionally for a fight, or it's getting ready mentally, physically, emotionally to run away from that situation. But अब हम यहाँ पे एक और googly डाल रहे हैं. We are actually adding one thing here. We are saying, what if we have to stay there and deal with it? In certain circumstances, neither running away helps, nor does fighting help. How do we deal? And most of us human beings, that is the distinction between animal brain and human brain, that if we want and we train ourselves, we can deal with the third option, which is called management. Na to fight, not to flight, manage. But then sometimes you need to fight. All conflicts are not worth, na? You have to pick your battle, as they say, right? Which one to fight, which is worthy enough to fight. Manage if you can. Otherwise, run away from that situation. That is better, right? Because you have to preserve yourself also, and that's part of your job.
Survival.
Survival, absolutely, right? Number 3, where does it come into play? Self-motivation. What does self-motivation mean? If you simply, go by the demands of our raw brain, the way it functions, क्या होता है? One side say, our intellect is saying, Archana, you need to reduce 20 kg weight. Okay. And I know exactly what all I need to do. But there is another brain of mine. Every time it sees a chocolate, ये saliva यहाँ से गिरने लगता है. And then मेरे को लगता है, one piece, what will happen? Let me just eat that one piece करते करते पूरा chocolate I would have actually taken in. And then I'll go into guilt. And then I'll say, anyway, now that I've eaten one, let me eat just another 2 also. And फिर बाद में देखा जाएगा what will happen. So that's not helping at all. So sometimes what we call by the name of willpower and commitment, we only, like New Year में list बनाते हैं ना, like that we all keep making different kind of lists in our life. From now on, no, I'm going to do this, right? And then it doesn't even take a day for us to break that promise. And then people give us gyan. Willpower hona chahiye yaar. Once you decide you will do that, then you should stick to that. All that is good. How do we do that willpower? We have to have self-control and not give in to the pressure that our senses put on us. ये जो सलाइवा गिरने लगता है ना, वो सलाइवा को बोलो, पी लो अपने आप को. I am not going to feed you. So you are going to, if some of you were there in the Bhagavad Gita class, you will realize this statement कि senses के ऊपर brain है, brain के ऊपर intellect है. So mind is above senses, above mind is intellect, and above intellect is you, the soul, supreme soul. So if you want to control, you should be able to control and delay gratification. Sometimes simply suppressing your needs are not going to help you. So इसलिए अभी dietitians and nutritionists also what they say, okay, if you want to get onto a diet because you know you want to reduce your weight because it is good for you, good for your health, then keep a cheat day. और खाना भी
Yes.
है तो खा लो, थोड़ा थोड़ा खा लो, बस ज्यादा मत खाओ.
Yes.
So you need to again regulate that, and you have to stay motivated for a goal that you at least have, kind of developed and created for your own self. And then when you go through setbacks, for example, we all set out to do something, great agenda and with a lot of motivation, and results don't come according to our expectations. It happens almost with me, at least on a daily basis, right? And so all of you can relate to what I'm saying. In different areas of life, you start cooking something and you bring all those, items that you need with all that imagination of how it will come out. And just for some reason, towards the end of what's happening, this is a disaster. And
Yes.
yeah, suddenly you want, like, I'll never cook from now on. I don't think I want to cook. Better than this would. And then you start making this resolution about going to the other extreme. Itna mehnat kiya, sab bekar gaya. So maybe I should not cook any longer. I'm not good at it. And we all do this in different things, whether it is in our professional life or personal life, right? So reading the thing below self-motivation, let us see if we are relating to everything. Delayed gratification, staying motivated and persistent in face of setbacks. All that comes under emotional intelligence. If you're feeling low, identify you're feeling low and then work out a regimen to see how you can bring that feeling low mood to a better mood for you to stay on the path. Next is actually what is called as,
Empathy.
That's
Empathy.
right. That's right. No, I'm just reading the chat. I didn't realize something. In leadership on attitudes. Okay, Sanjay is putting some of the things. Okay, all right. So yeah, the next one is empathy, which is about relating to others in the society. Okay, oh sorry, I wanted to just reduce it so that we all can see. Yeah, so it means understand others' feelings, needs, wants, and concerns. Now, in order to do this also, you need to have emotional intelligence. And it all starts, remember, number one is self-awareness, number two is self-regulation, number three is self-motivation. If you have learned these three stages, only then you can go to number four. ये मत सोचिएगा मैं अपने आप को तो नहीं समझ पाती हूँ, लेकिन मैं सारे दुनिया को समझ लेती हूँ. That's what you may be thinking, but that may not be the reality. Right? Number five, and then as you can see, empathy is very important to be a team leader, to be a team player, to be in a family, to have a relationship, etc., etc. Relationship management, manage others' emotions, organize groups, negotiate solutions. So relationship management is somewhere beyond even you having a relationship with one person, but how you can take on a position in a family. Naturally speaking, women are gifted with more of emotional intelligence than men, naturally speaking, okay? And it cannot be generalized 100%. So what happens, people say traditionally, at least in our country, that it's the woman who keeps the family bound. सारे men को छोड़ दिया होता तो फायर शोर करके झगड़ा करके निकल गए होते सब अपनी अपनी डायरेक्शन में. It is a woman who is needed to keep everybody together, but women can also lead to a lot of fights in relationships. So
Dramas and chaos.
Sorry, Madhvi.
Dramas and chaos.
Absolutely, lot of both can happen, and both can be the same brain that is capable of doing, the same person that is capable of doing. If you want, you can bring everything together, and if you want, you can become the destroyer. So Shakti can be used, always power can be used positively and negatively, right? Let's look at this small video here. There is no sound of words, so don't wait for somebody to speak. You have to read, otherwise just there is a background music, okay?
And we are not able to hear Archana.
Oh. Okay. Sorry, I wish I knew that. So just give me a moment. But anyway, I'm not going to rewind because
Yeah,
there's no sound as such. But music is very peppy. So I'm only going to rewind when the music starts. Okay, I love this music. All right. So some important statistics in the video that I showed. I hope you guys noted that basically not only to get a job, but to go forward and be somebody who is successful, so to say, you need large amounts of EI, and IQ becomes less and less important, as we all know. Initially, we all start with a skill where we have expertise, and then as we grow, we all become managers, human resource managers. As soon as we get into supervisory and managerial positions and leadership positions, skill becomes less and less important. So here we are in this particular sheet, what we are showing is like how we had above the line behavior, below the line behavior. This is like that. When you have high emotional intelligence, the kind of behavior you show, and when you have low emotional intelligence, the kind of behavior one may show. Now, this is good for us to recognize where do we belong, and also sometimes to recognize where others belong. So I'll leave a minute for you to just go through this, not necessarily get into everything too much. Being assertive is high EI. Being aggressive is low EI. Warm, enthusiastic is high EI when you're focused on the person who is speaking, you're active listening. But if you are somebody who gets easily distracted, low EI. More calm, more patient, high EI. Resistant to change, unresponsive, etc. Stubbornness, low EI.
I have one point to make. I don't know whether somewhere I came across that, emotional intelligence also is, many people have it from within themselves also. Some have more of that, and some have very low empathy. I'm talking about empathy. Empathy also, some people have it within them. It's there in them. And some people have very, very low empathy. And for them to stay emotionally connected with others, and for others, to get that emotional validation for their emotions, all that becomes very challenging.
Okay, I'll put it in a nutshell. That's right, Madhavi. Yeah. We are all born with different innate capabilities. And if you have to believe our Indian traditional way of understanding, it is based on our past lives, so to say, right? We are born in a particular way. Then again, in the environment that we are born and we are raised, again, that has an influence on us.
Yes.
But then the good news is we all have heard of the fixed mindset and growth mindset. So now if we want, then we can change. And the first step to change is to become aware. Number 2, to accept this is who we are. Number 3, wanting to change something in us. Many people don't want to change. If I don't want to change, you can do nothing to help me to change. But if I want to change, then a whole lot of people can help me to change. first, many of us are unaware. Number two, even if we become aware, we try to justify why we are like that. We will say, you don't understand the kind of environment I have grown up in. Don't come and give me gyan because you have not seen what I have gone through. So they are justifying who they are and they are not wanting to change. So nobody can do anything.
The victim mindset.
It's all the mindset. Yeah, victim mindset, but that's all again, whether you want to stay with a fixed mindset or growth mindset. Again, everything ultimately karma. Okay. Now, you guys know where I'm coming from. You can do so much, but beyond that, first of all, we can only circle of influences within ourselves. Others, I don't know how much we can help. And that one slide I'll come to very soon. But yeah, Madhvi, very true. This is another short video. And this has voice. I hope you're hearing.
Develop it. Emotional intelligence is the ability to identify, comprehend, manage, and handle emotions. This ability starts with recognizing and managing one's own emotions and then those of others. Emotional intelligence is also known as the emotional quotient, or EQ. The term has been around since the 1960s, but was made popular in 1995 by Daniel Goleman and his best-selling book, Emotional Intelligence. EQ, or EI, differs from IQ. IQ stands for Intelligence Quotient, and IQ is a score of a person's problem-solving ability, measured through standardized psychometric tests. IQ assesses a person's capacity for reasoning, which is useful, but what IQ does not assess is how a person interacts with others. That is where EQ becomes important. Emotional intelligence is important as it is foundational to all relationships. To relate to people, we need to understand our emotions and relate to those of others. But EQ is of particular importance for leaders. Leadership at its most basic level is influence, and therefore if you want to influence people, you need to know how they tick. I've learned, often the hard way, that clear communication is not necessarily effective communication. If you do not gauge the emotions of yourself or your audience, then you are unlikely to get the result that you want or expect. Emotional intelligence gives you the capability to perceive the emotional content of what people are communicating and what they need. That allows the manager or leader to interact effectively with an individual or team, gauging how they are feeling and what they need in terms of support, encouragement, or help in order for them to develop and perform at high levels. But EQ is more important than just that. People with higher emotional intelligence, no matter what their leadership responsibilities, have better mental health, more success at work, and better relationships. So how do you improve your EQ? Some people seem naturally more emotionally aware, but we can all get better at reading our own emotions and those of others. As with everything in life, you can improve EQ through deliberate practice. Let's use the Goleman model to explore this skill and how we can develop and improve emotional intelligence. Goleman's model, also known as the mixed model, has 5 components. These are self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. So let's quickly look at each one of those in turn. 1. Self-awareness. Self-awareness can be improved by a better understanding of our strengths and weaknesses, and by undertaking reflective exercises such as journaling. 2. Self-regulation. One very effective way to improve self-regulation of emotions is by using breathing techniques. It's worth knowing and practicing a couple to see what works best for you, and if you are unsure about where to start, then there are some methods on the website for you to try out. 3. Motivation. For understanding motivation, it is important to understand our personal values, priorities, and passions. Setting goals is another great way for building momentum. You can add visualization to this goal setting to enhance the motivational effect as you try and see and feel what achieving your goal will be like. 4. Empathy. If you want to improve your empathy, then start by working on your listening skills. There are lots of ways to do this, but one simple way to start is to practice giving someone your full attention and not interrupting. Understanding body language will also help you with your empathy, as you'll be able to pick up on non-verbal signals too. 5. Social skills. Social skills are generally dependent upon building rapport. Building rapport starts with being at ease with ourselves and then carrying that authenticity into our interactions. You'll find here that, as with empathy, good listening will really help you build rapport. We can also work on improving our verbal communication, whether that is conversation or public speaking. Either way, try to get honest feedback on how well you are communicating so you can improve each time. Those are just a few short ideas of things to help improve in each area. You'll find further ideas in the full article. What is emotion?
So that should at least give one tip, and I know that we are past our time. I just wanted to show this one last slide. So there are things that are in our own control, and there are things that are happening around us that also influence us, but we have no control. So we need to be more and more aware, and every time we are disturbed, ask to change that situation. Is it in my control or not? And whatever is in your control, work on that. And if it is not in your control, just becoming aware that that is not in your control helps you deal with this. So with this, I would actually conclude today. There is another video that I would share in the group that will give some more tips about how we can better our emotional intelligence, but you all can see that at your own time. And if anybody wants more material, I'll be happy to share. So any other closing comments by anybody?
Thank you, Archana. It was wonderful.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank
You
you.
put
Thank
it so nicely, and even the videos were very helpful. Interaction with Mr. Sanjay and all that. Really, really, I was looking forward to this because I'm a great believer in EQ.
Thank you, Madhavi. Thank you. Wonderful.
so much.
Happy to know that you found it useful. Thank you, Asad. Arey wow, so many thumbs up I got. Thank you. Thank you, Divya. Thanks, Nagaratna. And thanks
Thank
for
you so
coming.
much.
Being so regular.
Wonderful session. And, I was missing the sessions when you started, but somehow I made it up to attend one session. Now I'm so interested and I'm eagerly looking for Saturday's
the next session.
Absolutely. Lovely to have you, and pass on whatever you can to your bachas, to the people that you have influence on.
Yes.
So I know Asad is with the university. You are
many of your sessions, I take your talk all, and when I address the student, I copycat from what you have said.
Yes.
no copyright is there, so please go ahead and share it. Bindas with everybody.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Some
Have
more
a great day.
videos, Archana.
I will
Very nice to
share.
see you.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Madhvi.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
See you all.
Bye.
Bye.
Many of you.
Bye, Aarti.
Thank
Bye,
you
Sanjay.
for attending
Bye.
this.
Bye.
And Archana had a very nice session.
Thank
Yes.
you, Aarti. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.